Benin. We're still talking about Rodri and Barcelona. Rodri is now a Barcelona player. Fermin Lopez surrendered the number 16 jersey to him, who said it has happened previously at Inter Milan in the 90s, where Roberto Baggio took over the number 10 jersey from Ronaldo, who in turn had to collect the number 9 from Ivan Zamorano, who went ahead to start donning the 1+8. It also happened to Chelsea with Michael Ballack taking the number 13 jersey from William Gallas. And we went straight to Cincinnati, where Sloane Stephens has reserved the 2017 US Open champion and 2018 French Open finalist, is doing quite well and will be playing Marta Kostyuk in the round of 32 later today. We'll give you updates on that. We're talking about people who have not allowed injuries to have that blight on their careers. They keep moving no matter how many injuries they have succumbed to or they have suffered. Sloane Stephens is a prime example. She's done very well. She has pushed, she has fought, she has faced so many injury woes, come out of them victorious. She intends to continue to fight. She's 33 years old now. She can be regarded as a veteran. We liken her case to Rafael Nadal, the Spanish superstar, who had all those problems, tendinitis and everything else, and still went ahead to win 22 Grand Slam tournaments. We talked about his rivalry with Andy Murray, Roger, and Novak. Novak has said Rafa is his greatest rival. Rafa has in turn insisted that no, Roger Federer is his own greatest rival. So we can probably see from where Rafa is talking about his perspective, right? Because when Rafa was coming up from when he was a teenager, aspiring for the top of men's tennis, it was Roger who was the reference point. Everyone was pretty much looking up to the Swiss tennis legend who had won everything, reached 25 consecutive Grand Slam semifinals, was world number one for so many years until Rafael Nadal said enough was enough at that point in the 2008 Wimbledon final. Everything culminated into Rafa emerging victorious after previously reaching the final of the 2006 Wimbledon and 2007 Wimbledon. Both he lost to Roger Federer, but in the 2006, 7, and 8 French Open finals, he defeated Roger Federer. The 2008 French Open final stands out as one of the most one-sided French Open, one of the most one-sided Grand Slam finals in history, where Rafael Nadal, who was already certain, to be world number one, almost certain to be world number one, defeated Roger Federer in the final 6-3, 6-1, 6-love. He was primed, was in prime position to be world number one. Then Wimbledon was the crowning glory for the Spanish superstar. And in August 22, 2008, Rafael Nadal officially became world number one for the first time. And he held on to it for for a few months, not a couple. He held on to it for some time before relinquishing it again to Roger Federer. And it was an affair where Rafa eventually ended with 209 weeks as world number one. So it's not about his achievements per se, but his achievements vis-a-vis his injury woes. He did very well side by side how he had to overcome all those career-ending injuries. Magically, miraculously, he kept coming back, and he won the 2022 Australian Open final from 2 sets down against arguably one of the strongest hard-court players right now, Daniil Medvedev, who has for some time been out of that winner's circle or even competitor's circle. And Daniil is no stranger to losing finals from 2 sets down. He lost another one to Yannick Sinner again at the Australian Open. But let's not veer off. We're also talking about how Rafa won the 2022 French Open, defeating Casper Ruud. Got to the semi-finals of Wimbledon. People thought he could do a calendar Grand Slam, but his body didn't allow it. He defeated Taylor Fritz despite being cropped and had to withdraw from that semi-final against Nigeria, which the Australian said he was going to win anyways. We know how mouthy and unnecessarily egregious the Australian can be. But at the end of the day, we're talking about people that can rise from adversity and turn it into prosperity. And that's what Sloane Stephens is currently trying to do. We also talked about how Alexandra Ehler has lost to Amanda Anisimova, who reached the Grand Slam finals at Wimbledon last year and in the US Open. At Wimbledon, she was double baggered by Igor Swiatek, but got to another final at the US Open. She was definitely mentally resolute and didn't allow that one-sided defeat to harm her in any way, psychologically or mentally or otherwise. And she has done very well with her career. Her career stalled a bit after the death of her father. Mentally, she wasn't there. She was grieving, because nobody can measure grief. Nobody can define your grief. Personal grief is something that you have to handle all alone, no matter what anybody says. He who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. So that's for Amanda Anisimova. We're going to be giving you more on the Cincinnati Open currently going on. So much is happening there, a lot, and it is our duty to let you know what's going on. We have to expertly elucidate on what's going on at Cincinnati to keep you updated. So Tommy Paul won his match in 3 sets, as well as Arthur Fields defeating Lehechka in 3 sets as well. So we're going to give you more. Alexander Zverev defeated Atmane, and Jakub Mensik defeated Hidikata. And later today, Andrei Rublev, who is trying to find his form, will be playing against Portuguese #1, Nuno Borges. All right, Lorenzo Musetti will be playing against Zheng, and Taylor Fritz will be playing against informed Spaniard Daniel Merida Aguilar. Brandon Nakashima, the finalist in Canada just last week, will be playing against Daniil Medvedev, the 2021 US Open champion. We remember he defeated Novak Djokovic in that and in the final at Flushing Meadows, and prevented the Serb from winning a calendar or completing a calendar Grand Slam. All right, Jamie Fourier, who we talked about before, defeated the Canadian champion Ben Shelton in the round of 64. We'll be playing against Walsin. All right, so let's also talk about what happened yesterday. Rafael Jadar defeated Alejandro Tabillo in straight sets, and Alex Demon defeated Arthur Fry. All right, Tirante backed up his win over Novak Djokovic with another win. Incredible two tie breaks against Landoles, and he is in the round of 16 now. Flavio Cobolli, the 2026 French Open finalist, defeated Blocks as well. Frances Tiafoe also won his match, we said it before, against Lorenzo Sonego. Lorenzo Sonego is an Italian. He lost to the American Frances Tiafoe. Amanda Anisimova, we said it before, defeated Alexandra Ehler, and 2025 Australian Open champion Madison Keys will be playing against Siniakova, and Amira Andreeva, the teenager who won the French Open this year, will be playing against Yen, and Wang will be playing against Elina Svitolina Monfils, and Marta Kostyuk will be playing against Sloane Stephens. Coco Gauff will be playing against Lee, and Bejek will be playing against Katerina Alexandrova. So those are the matches that we will be expecting to happen today. The straight to transfer news, where a lot has happened between yesterday and today. Clubs looking to wrap that up in order to return to regular programming. Of course, the season is starting in a bit. Some of these clubs want to be ready, don't want to be distracted by incomings. Well, outgoings is not a distraction by any stretch because that means revenue. All right. So Diego Simeone has said that they do not believe that Julian Alvarez is in the right condition to play or take part in their game that is going to happen tomorrow, the La Liga game. So he has also said that hopefully over the next 4 days there will be further progress and it will be closer to where they want him to be. So mentally and psychologically, Julian Alvarez, after failed, the potential moves to Barcelona and possibly Arsenal didn't happen. So he is not in a good space at the moment. So Cholo Simeone has also added that if Enrique Cerezo has spoken so categorically, Enrique Cerezo and the owner of Atletico Madrid, Jesus Gil, then there's nothing more to say. It is like when you go to court, that's it, there's nothing more to it. So his hands are tied. PSV Eindhoven are closing in on the Lutschelge through the deal on an initial loan from RB Leipzig. We remember that it was this same Gertruda that replaced Jurien Timber in the Netherlands World Cup squad. Right, Real Sociedad and Everton also called after Ajax to try to explore conditions of the deal until the end. All right, so Tijani Reinders from Manchester City has arrived in Saudi Arabia to complete the 61 million euros transfer deal, or million euros deal to Al Qatar, because they had to cough out 61 million euros to convince the Johnny Reinders and Manchester City that they are heavily interested in the Netherlands international. Fermin Lopez has said Rodri will give them a lot of quality, and he is a fantastic signing, which we are all already aware of. All right, so Fermin has said he wants to replace Ferran Torres, and he has asked for the number 7 jersey, and he has also said he always liked it. He's a little bit sad to leave number 16, but it will be in good hands. Of course, you have to leave it for your superior, right? We said it before. You leave it for someone who's career resume definitely dwarfs yours. So shoe get size, as they say it in pidgin parlance. All right. So Fermin Lopez, like we said before, okay, he's also talking about Julian Alvarez. He said, I like him. He's a great player. But ultimately, he's an Atletico Madrid player. Yes, he's a Colchonero. So I can't say much about him. That deal won't go through. It's likely not going to happen because Atletico Madrid's hierarchy have said no, 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 and no. They haven't even given any window for negotiations to take place. They are not interested in entertaining any discussion whatsoever concerning Julian Alvarez having to leave the Wanda Metropolitano. All right. So Roma have sealed the Rodrigo Mora deal from FC Porto, and Morera has also gone to AC Milan. Rafael Leao is on his way out, but no willing takers yet. 50 million euros minimum transfer fee. That's what AC Milan are requesting. And let us see who will be able to afford it, or who's got the capacity not only to afford it, but to trust that Rafael Leao is worth that risk. All right. So Bao Kubasi is currently leading the votes for Golden Boy Award 2026. Definitely expected as well, not astonishing at any point. All right. So Total Sports release current stand is waiting for final votes to take place later this year. So right now, let us tell you the European Golden Boy top 10. Let's give you the top 10. Pau Kubazi leads the way. As we have said, Lamine Yamal is there, number 2. And Yan Diomande, the recent acquisition of Real Madrid from RB Leipzig, is number 3. And Zaire Emery is number 4. And Ayo Buhari, who is Manchester City bound, is number 5, and that's for the top 5. So let's give you the top 5, and I'm sure that Paul Kobasi will have nothing to worry about concerning who wins this year's Golden Boy Award. All right, so for other news, Ipswich Town have already sent you an official bid for Ezekiel Palacios. So they are very interested in acquiring his signature and doing everything possible to ensure that it becomes a distinct possibility. All right. So Manchester United's new deal proposal has been sent to Bruno Fernandes in May. So since May, they've been negotiating a new deal. The negotiations continue in length of contract salary, 65 million clause included into current deal for the 32-year-old. All right, so good stuff. No Galatasaray move planned this summer. I do not think that Bruno Fernandes will be stupid enough to leave Manchester City. Manchester United, I beg your pardon, and go to Galatasaray. With all due respect to the Turkish club, they've attracted some huge names in the past, and our very own Victor Osimhen plays there. But Galatasaray, like we said before, should get size. They are no match for Manchester United, and I do not say this with bias, right? All right, so. Sorry. All right. So Rangers have agreed a deal to sign Costa Nedeljkovic from Aston Villa. So while they are expecting incomings and working hard for that, they are also pushing out players who have to make way for the incomings, which is normal. Football is business. After Rodrigo Mora's deal is done, AS Roma will now decide whether they want to proceed for Malik Fofana. Fofana has agreed terms with Roma, and now it's on the club. Olympique Lyonnais are also waiting. Luis Enrique from Inter, another option on the list. So Gianpiero Gasperini is doing everything possible to have a strong season for the Gallo Rossi. And that's AS Roma for those who do not get it. Because, right. Understand Saudi clubs, in addition to Galatasaray, will be in discussions with Rafael Leao's camp. Yeah, if he can't get a club in Europe and they have a bumper offer for him, why not leave for Saudi Arabia? After all, at the end, money is most important. Ask Oscar when he left Chelsea to the Chinese Super League. Ask Ezekiel Lavezzi, El Pocho. Ask Ramirez. Ask those guys who lit up the Chinese Super League. Ask Don Marcello Lippi, who went to the Chinese Super League as well. We remember these guys, Shanghai Shenhua and others, and the players made a lot of money when they went to China. And yeah, for that, after all the buzz, the Chinese Super League went under. FC Porto are ready to advance and try to close the Santiago Jimenez's deal as soon as possible. The first official bid will be sent to AC Milan imminently. Understand that Porto are offering a loan deal with buy option clause. When these clubs aren't sure, aren't convinced that a player is worth the risk or the investment, they want to play safe, so they start with a loan with the option to buy. So prove yourself this season. Let's see if we can get you on a permanent transfer. But Marcus Rashford, we remember, proved himself at Barcelona with a 30-goal/assist season. But what stopped Barcelona from making that deal permanent still beats me hollow. But I think it was Marcus Rashford's high wage demands, his greed, which has deferred his career a bit. It hasn't allowed other clubs to show interest, significant interest in him. He still thinks he's an elite player, which is okay. You can think you're an elite player. But if you make yourself difficult to negotiate with, then you are stalling your career. So right now, he doesn't really want to be at Manchester United. Yeah, he doesn't really want. We all know his mind is set on another place. But these clubs aren't willing to deal because his wage demands are excessive. He's going to be 29 in October. He's not Diego Maradona. He's not Johan Cruyff. He's not Eusebio. But he wants astronomical, outrageous wages, and that has put off some of these clubs. Well, I wish him luck or whatever decision he intends to take. All right, so going forward, International have agreed the deal to sign Tommy Sanabia from Cremonese. The contract is until 2029, and he travels tomorrow and then medical in Porto Alegre for the Paraguayan striker. Good luck to the Albi Roja. All right, so more of that. Inter preparing a new bid for Curtis Jones as he remains the top target in midfield since January. Inter Milan are flooding the Premier League, targeting English players, which is good. Christian Kivu must have an affection for English players. John Stones first, Jet Spence second, and now Curtis Jones. Well, he's been a long he's been a target for a long time. So Inter Milan have long been admirers of Curtis Jones. If we have to cut them some slack in that regard, they've been long admirers. I'm sure that Liverpool haven't been forthcoming in negotiations. That's why Inter keep coming. More context will take place as soon as Inter speak to his camp again, and a new bid is not linked to another exist. All depends on club to club agreement. All right, so let's see if Liverpool and Inter Milan will come to an agreement for Curtis Jones to be transferred to Milano. All right, so Manchester United, like we said before, offered a new deal to Bruno Fernandes since May, and they have been negotiating. So if the captain of Manchester United hasn't given a yes to contract offering or a contract renewal offer since May, then there's a problem. But let's see if Jason Wilcox will have that Midas touch and wrap up the deal as quickly as possible. Jason Wilcox has been doing quite well, admittedly, since he took over the reins at Manchester United, and has made some very good decisions. All right, so Rodri has said he's looking forward to working with his new teammates and giving his best to win it all. He doesn't just say things, he walks the talk. He's won the World Cup, he's won the Euros, he's won Premier League titles, he's won the Champions League, he's won the Ballon d'Or, he's won the Golden Ball. So he is not just a chatterbox, he walks the talk. So he's saying they're going for the Champions League and every other title. Do not discount what he's saying. Rodri is Rodri. All right. So, AS Roma, like we said before, personal terms have been agreed with Malik Fofana, and let's see if they are going to tie up the deal after club-to-club agreement may be reached. AC Milan have booked Diego Moreira's flight for medical tests and contract signing today. All right, so Harry Kane on the Ballon d'Or is the biggest award you can get. The Ballon d'Or isn't in my hands. I have done what I could in terms of performing. Of course, it would be fantastic if it happens, but ultimately there's still 2-3 months until a decision is made, which means that he is going to keep working hard, remain grounded, and let's see what happens. But for me, Harry Kane is favorite to win this year's Ballon d'Or. Mind-boggling numbers, and numbers don't lie. Statistically, if age was on his side, we're talking about the Robert Lewandowski's numbers at Bayern Munich. Yeah, and Gerd Muller's numbers practically unreachable, practically uncatchable. But Robert Lewandowski is within reach. If he continues for 3-4 years with this scoring statistic, he continues in this form, it is going to be difficult to stop him. It's going to be difficult to discount the fact that he may reach Robert Lewandowski's staggering numbers. Right. So Benoit Badiashiel's medical at Napoli booked this week as all documents are completed, and also the player side agreement has been reached. Personal terms not a problem. Naif Aguerd was never an option. Napoli signed Badiashile since last week. So Chelsea, one player is out of their books. All right. So Harry Kane has also said the new contract talks with Bayern. He only has 1 year left on his current deal. So now is the time to talk about it. They are discussing next week or the week after. Both sides are completely relaxed about it because I did not think that Harry Kane will say no. Harry Kane is on the wrong side. Well, not on the wrong side. He's 33. But in football terms, he's not a young man anymore. But he's still balling, still scoring for fun. So 2 or 3 more years isn't going to hurt anybody. Harry Kane will keep performing and hopefully escapes injuries, because at this age it will be difficult to recover from maybe an ACL or something. So we hope that he's going to have an injury-free career at Bayern and possibly break some existing records. Fiorentina are expected to ask higher fee than 30 million euros package offered by Como today for Moise Kean. So Cesc Fabregas wants Moise Kean at Como. All right, Como's official bid has been sent yesterday to open talks with new round of negotiations to take place soon. So Moise Kean from Juve to PSG, it's now like a marauder in football, a serial. Well, let's not say too much. He's doing well. And Como, if Cesc Fabregas definitely sees something in him, something distinct that probably only a few managers will see, because Cesc, being a wonderful footballer that he was, is going on to become an equally brilliant manager as well. So I am sure he knows the reason why he wants Moise Kean at Como, especially now that they are going to be playing continental competitions. All right. So as revealed today, AS Roma, I've said that before. Okay, Guillermo Vicario has landed in Turin, which he landed since yesterday to sign on loan from Tottenham. He did not land in Turin for Torino. He's going to Juve on loan from Tottenham. So Aaron Jakubashvili has just signed his contract as new UD Almeida player from Barcelona. Loan move with buy option clause for 50% rights of the player from 2027. Brighton have rejected the second bid from ranges of around £7 million for Mario Koscielny. There are more clubs keen on the player as discussions will follow in the next days. So Dewberry of Brighton, Rangers really want him, and they are bidding £7 million. If you want to convince a club, you make them an offer they cannot refuse. Take a cue from Don Corleone in Godfather. Just make them an offer they can't refuse, and you'll see them rushing to agree to the terms of the transfer. All right. So Atalanta have opened talks for Charlie Rosenquist from Kalmar. The 19-year-old Swedish striker is on the list. Whatever it is, I think teenagers are doing quite well in football these days. There's no such thing as a young boy or a young man anymore in football. If you are good enough, you are old enough. So being young and what have you doesn't play a role anymore. The significance of your career is how well you play and how good you are, irrespective of the age. If you are 16 and you are performing at an insanely high level, then you'll be thrust straight into the starting lineup or the first team squad. When Rooney started making names at 16, Michael Owen is probably the most devastating teenager I've seen in my entire life. And as a teenager in the Premier League. He definitely taught people a new one and obliterated existing records, was extremely good. When Rooney was signed by Manchester United at 18, right? So it's incredible how teenagers are doing very well in football nowadays. Cristiano Ronaldo was also a teenager when he was signed by Manchester United as well. And Wayne Rooney, alongside Cristiano Ronaldo, are two of the greatest footballers, not just in Manchester United history, but in football history. So Pele was also discovered as a teenager. So some of these teenagers, look at Ayo Boadi of Morocco. He's not only mentally adept, he's 18 and commanding the midfield of both Lille and Morocco. He's got confidence levels beyond his age, leadership qualities beyond his age. So age has no bearing anymore, has no relevance anymore. Age is only but a number, and these players are showing it every day. And it is brilliant to see, exciting to see as well. So being a teenager is no longer an excuse. Perform well, and you'll definitely hit the limelight. And that's what's going on right now in football. So let's continue with the transfers, because we're pretty much wrapping up transfers Thursday and Friday. Like I said before, we will be previewing Europe's top 5 leagues. Some of these clubs, the big clubs, are going to play before Saturday, but the Premier League officially commences on Saturday. Arsenal defeated Manchester City in the season's cutting razor, 3-0, right? But we are going to officially preview all Europe's top 5 leagues on Thursday and Friday, and also mention what's going on in the Saudi Pro League, because Cristiano Ronaldo has hinted that this is probably his last season as a professional player, while he pursues that landmark achievement of 1,000 goals. He's 24 shy, right? So we are looking at previewing the Saudi Pro League. Al Nassr won their first game without Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. They've got Yao Felix, they've got Kingsley Coman, they've got Sadio Mane and Gabriel as well. So they've got a very good team. Ange Postecoglou started very well. It is expected that he will have a good season, hopefully, really, hopefully. He won the Europa League with Tottenham not so long ago, defeating Manchester United in the final. Brennan Johnson scored that winner. Brennan Johnson since then has gone to Palace and is now at Everton, just to mention. And Cuti Romero, who had a brilliant performance in that match, is now at Atletico Madrid. So we'll be previewing all that. That's why we have to wrap up the transfers. We'll be telling you about incomings, outgoings, if coaching changes, everything you need to know about it. Everything you need to know about the incomings, outgoings, about what to expect, those who may win the Premier League, predictions, right? We'll be telling you everything about it. That's it. So let's say 1 or 2 or 3 more transfer news before we call it a day on Sports Grandeur on OJ 106.3 FM Benin. All right, so 1 or 2 or 3 more transfer news for you to be kept abreast. So, well, AC Milan will welcome Diego Moreira as soon as possible. And Cancelo is now at Barcelona as expected. We said that yesterday. Constantino Fazuli and Benoit Badiashile will undergo medical at Roma. We said at Napoli. I beg your pardon. We said that before. And that's pretty much what we can have for today and for you today on Sports Grandeur on OJ 106.3 FM Benin. Thank you very much. My name remains Ohise Boreme. I keep telling you, stay safe because, well, stay safe and enjoy your day.